My entire feed just dropped. But again, talking about history and politics, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m., Monday through Thursday. And we were going over, before we completely lost our feed, Trump administration said, this is a story by the Associated Press, that it deported 17 more violent criminals, and they have allegedly deported violent criminals from the Tren de Argua and MS-13 gangs to El Salvador. Now, I remember, because the point of history and politics on this job is to add a historical perspective, a historical track record of America and American government to uh, offer a framework of understanding of what's going on in politics today. These violent criminals that are vaguely identified is very reminiscent to the war on drugs. And if you need a particular reference, though there were many, one that you can easily look up is Hillary Clinton and the super predator comment, and how these people were gang members and they were this and they were that. And I lived through that. And they were grabbing crackheads, they were grabbing anybody with, they were recreational users. Um, and there is no question, it has been admitted and apologized by presidents and politicians for the last 10 or 20 years that the war on drugs was a smash and grab for labor. You've seen the 13th um, um, what is it called? Documentary on Netflix, Slavery by Another Name by Douglas Blackman book, the new Jim Crow book by Michelle Alexander. All of these things have come to the forefront that the war on drugs was just a smash and grab for imprisoned labor to make money for corporations. And now we're dealing with prison labor again. And we're making up reasons of going after people. We're labeling these people, like Hillary Clinton did, super predators. Now it's violent violent criminals from the Trans-Argua and MS-13 gangs. Now, I don't live in the gang areas, but notice that it just happened to be a Spanish gang. It's not Aryan Nation. It's not any of the white gangs that run prison. It's not the Ku Klux Klan. It's not the Tiki Torch people. It's not any of the which notice it's gangs when it's black people and Latinos, but when it's the people that storm the Capitol, well, those aren't gangs, those are organizations. Notice it's not any of them. In fact, none of them are getting sent. They got pardoned. And we go through history as to where protests, violent protests of whites end in people being pardoned. And this is throughout history. I mean, the 1700s, 1800s. And when black people rise up, everybody gets killed, and there is a killing by vigilantes throughout the black community. Perfect example is Nat Turner's Rebellion. In here, they're saying no names. No, if it's only 17 people, why could they not list their names or list what they did? What made them violent? What made them so violent that they needed to be sent where the most violent people are being sent? And how do they know these people are gang members? Gang members don't function with paperwork. And with the exception of white terrorist groups. In my experience, growing up in gang communities and working with gang members and working in rival gang territories, doing community development, most of the time gang members don't put gang insignia on their bodies. Is the tattoos that are generally markers are more religious ones, more so than any other ones. So that's not how do you know that these people are members of this particular gang? Now I do understand. If they put a teardrop on their eye, that means they killed somebody. Well, a whole lot of people have that. A lot of rappers have that, and I don't know if they've killed anybody. So what is it? Because most gangs don't deal in paperwork. Most violent, organized gangs that function in illegal things don't keep paperwork. So how do you know these people are in a gang? Doesn't it stand to reason, looking at the war on drugs and how that went, that they're priming this pump of getting the American people used to us sending people out of the country and getting to think that, yes, it's okay to send violent people to this place so they can start doing it to Americans when they run out of these alleged immigrants. And what is the name of that paper? There was a wrongly deported person. And this is in a story on the Hill's page. The Trump administration acknowledged late Monday that it mistakenly deported a Salvadorian man protected from removal, sending him to a facility in El Salvador where they argue they are unable to secure his return. Again, this is the Hill, and this was yesterday. It was printed yesterday. So go to thehill.com. You can look this up. The first article about them sending 17 more people from these gangs is from the Associated Press. And you can go to apnews.com. And deportation, Venezuela, Iran de Argua, Trump. And you'll be able to find that article. But this one is saying, although ICE was aware of his protection from removal to El Salvador, Abrego Garcia was removed to El Salvador because of an administrative error. Now, how many times has this happened is number one. And two, why are we hearing about this? The filing went on to state that they do not believe they can secure his return from El Salvador Terrorism Confinement Center, also known as CECOT. The United States does not have custody over him. They acknowledge that there may be a difficult question in readdressing this case. He applied for asylum in the United States in 2019 and was granted the protections by an immigration judge prohibiting him from being removed. Now notice, it's an immigration judge, not the United States government, the Department of Immigration. Notice how that's written. But he nonetheless, among 260 men the Trump administration sent to El Salvador alleging were gang members were sent. Although he has been accused of general gang affiliation, Now, where did only the most violent people come from? What is general gang affiliation? I grew up in gang territories and I knew them all. Was I was that general gang affiliation because I knew everybody? I knew how the gangs worked. I knew how to avoid trouble. I knew what they were doing. I knew where they did it. I knew where the drug houses were. Was that general affiliation? Um, the U.S. government has never produced an iota of evidence to support this unfounded accusation. They wrote in an initial filing noting that he left El Salvador to flee gang violence. The White House disputed Tuesday that they did not provide any evidence of this person's gang affiliation. The individual member, actually a leader in the brutal MS-13 gang, which this president has designated as a foreign terrorist organization. What about the domestic um, terror organizations? Why are we worried about external groups and not the ones here? Why are we not sending, like I said, the KKK or American gangs? Why are we not sending, Aryan Nation? Why are we not sending those different gangs? Why, particularly some arbitrary gang that most Americans know nothing about, and if we haven't heard of them, I don't think that those are most of the gangs that are probably our biggest threat. His attorney said that the government had numerous methods of raising questions that his status in seeking about his status, but were still seeking to deport him. Defendants found those legal procedures bothersome, so they merely ignored them and deported the plaintiff to El Salvador, ripping him away. Trump administration is paying the El Salvadorian government $6 million to house the migrants in these prisons. The gentleman's attorney described the condition of the prison, accounts in which align with the background of the video Homeland Security shared after visiting the center. Inmates at the CECOT are confined to their cells 23 and a half hours daily and cannot go outdoors. They are denied access to reading materials, including even letters from friends and family. Inmates are prohibited from receiving visits from family and friends. Meals are provided through the bars, and the facility enforces strict regulations to maintain order. Okay, what's the point? Why are we sending people there? And why El Salvador? Why aren't we sending them back to the country that they're from? Why are we sending them to a place that they are being confined for 23.5 hours a day? And I'm just waiting on the work to kick in. I guarantee you, once they fill the prisons, that's going to become a source of labor. That's what has happened in America. We started with slavery. We moved to convict leasing. Convict leasing happened to blacks. Convict leasing has happened to whites. Every time that there is legislation to control a group of poor people, that is the labor force. There are three reasons that laws generally happen in this country. It is to control land, labor, and capital. Those are the three modes of production. So again, I'm asking, with the war on drugs being so close, I mean, there are 50-year-olds that know about this. this. I mean, 40-year-olds that know about this, that lived through it. They saw it. They know what happened firsthand. They lived through all of the media and all of the apologies and all of the, oh, we didn't know. Where is Barack Obama right now? Where is Clinton right now? Where is Biden right now? Where is Bush right now? Where is Hillary Clinton right now? Where all of these congressional people that made these apologies? That, oh, we didn't know. Oh, if we had known, that nobody tried to fix. Biden, vice president for 8 years, president for 4 years, never made an effort to undo what he apologized for with the war on drugs. So where are these people now? Where are these political superheroes that Obama had everything but a cake. Now we gave it to him. Where is he leading the fight? Because that dude would get TV time. He'll get as much TV time as Trump. Where are these people fighting for the rights of the labor class to make sure this is not happening again? Because the more we get used to unproven, violent people that we are now already getting proof within the first few months that at least one person has been sent over there that they're just ignoring. The government is ignoring government information and government protections in sending people. So had this person's family not said something, and this person's family not had enough money to get a lawyer, we would be thinking, oh, it's just violent people being sent over there. But now, where is the Trump administration putting out, here's the surveillance we had on this person, here's all the ways we know this person has done these crimes, here's a long rap sheet on this person, all of this information as to why this person was actually taken and was supposed to be taken. None of that's happening. And we're doing the same thing that we did in the 80s and 90s. And it's just picking up. This is the first few months. Once it gets regular, where the American people are no longer hearing, oh yeah, it's violent people, that's what we do with them. Then it's going to start to be American people, because there's only so many immigrants. And when they're building a labor force, which they are, because they're moving a labor force. Right now, if they're in their cells 23.5 hours a day, they're not working yet. But once they fill that prison, they're going to. That's what history has always done. When America is involved. Now, if it was just El Salvador, I don't know the history of El Salvador. I'm not an expert on El Salvadorian history, but I am an expert on American history. But my question is, where are all of these good-meaning politicians that so many people vote for? All of the people that are just upset with people like me that aren't distracted or participate in the voting process because it is what it is. Where are the demands of these people? All of those millions of people that voted, and all these black people that's talking about, oh, people died so you can vote. Well, they died for you to be able to participate. They died for you to be able to make a difference. Voting is nothing if you're not going to do something with it. So where are these people speaking out about this, organizing about this? Where is it? Where are the scholars talking about this? We've seen this before. This is sad.